Yo, what's up? If you're trying to start a lead generation agency right now, chances are you're making at least one of these mistakes. And honestly, these are the mistakes that keep every beginner stuck at zero. Here's the worst part. Most people don't even realize they're doing them until it's too late. But here's the good news. If you watch this video all the way through, I'm going to break down 10 biggest mistakes beginners make and show you exactly how to avoid them. If you've been stuck spinning your wheels, sending emails that don't get replies, struggling to sign clients, or wondering if this business even works, stick with me, because by the end of this video, you know exactly what's holding you back and how to start moving towards your first 10k a month. Let's get into it. Mistake number 1. Unrealistic expectations. The first mistake beginners make is expecting overnight results. They come in thinking they'll hit 10k in their first month. And yes, it's possible. I've seen people hit 20k in just a couple of weeks. But here's the truth. That's the exception, not the rule. For most people, it takes consistency. If you stay disciplined, you need about 6 months to hit 10k a month. And even if it takes you a year, that's still 120k a year business, which is more than most jobs pay after 3 to 4 years of university. The problem is, people don't think long term. They want it all now. They expect to skip the messy middle. So when they don't see 10k a month instantly, they quit after 3 months. But this game isn't about quick wins. It's about compounding. Every outreach you send, every sales call you take, every ad you run, it stacks. And over 1 to 4 years, that stacks into a system, a machine that brings in clients, income, and freedom. And here's the truth nobody tells you. Freedom doesn't start at 10k a month, it starts way earlier. It starts with your first few clients. Even 2 to 5k a month can replace your full-time job. It can cover your bills, it can give you breathing room, it can let you work from home, travel, take care of your family, breathe without stressing over rent. That's the real win, not some flashy screenshot for Instagram, but real day-to-day control of your life. And once you realize that, the pressure drops. You stop chasing rich in 90 days, you stop comparing yourself to exceptions, you start focusing on building something that compounds. Because the long game, that's where the freedom really is. Mistake 2. Quitting too soon. Most beginners give up way too early. They send a handful of cold emails, maybe they get 1 or 2 replies, usually not interested, and then they tell themselves, this doesn't work, this is a scam, or worse, I'm just not cut out for this. Here's the truth. The people who actually win, they're the ones who stay in the game. Because this is a numbers game and a time game. If you can't commit at least a year to learning the skill, then honestly, it might not be for you. I'll give you my own example. I didn't land a client right away. It took me a few months. And when I finally did, I wasn't making 10k a month. I wasn't even close. I was at about 3k a month. But here's the thing. That 3k was all the proof I needed. It was that moment I realized this works. The model is real, I can scale this. And let me tell you a funny story about that first client. I was literally in bed when I had that closing call. No office, no setup, I didn't even have my Stripe account ready, so I couldn't take payment on the call. But guess what? It still worked. The client still signed, and that was the turning point for me. I wasn't some genius, I wasn't super experienced, I was someone who stuck around long enough to get proof. And listen, if you want to see exactly how I'm breaking all this down, step by step, I've got a free school group where I'm showing the exact process. The link's below if you want to join, but let's keep going. Mistake 3, not testing enough. The third mistake is not testing enough. Marketing is testing, period. Statistically speaking, the pros, they test 40 times more than the average person. They test offers, they test creatives, they test emails, always tweaking, always experimenting. The beginners? They send 10 emails, run 1 ad, and when it doesn't work, they stop. That's not testing. That's just dipping your toe in the water. Here's the truth. Lead generation is actually simple. Pick a niche, create an offer, build a brand, do outreach, close clients. That's it. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't get stuck in analysis paralysis like I did. I wasted months just thinking instead of doing. Don't repeat that. But here's the thing. Even if you're testing in the wrong niche, you're still stuck. Mistake 4, sticking to bad niches. This one's big. If you pick a bad niche, you'll struggle no matter how hard you work. Here's what I mean. Some niches are just broke. They don't have the money to pay you. Take barbers. Haircuts are usually 20 to 40 pounds a service. That's a low ticket offer. And the problem is, they can't scale. A barber can only cut so many heads in a day. So even if you sent them 50 new customers, they would hit their limit fast. And because of that, they won't pay you much for leads. You can't sell lots of leads into a business with such a low ceiling. Now compare that to roofing. One roof replacement can be worth 5 to 20k plus for them. So paying you a couple of grand for leads, that's nothing. That's why high ticket services are easier, because one client equals big value equals easier ROI, easier ROI equals easier to close. But here's something to keep in mind, all niches can work, some are just harder than others. If you already have experience or expertise in a specific industry, use that to your advantage. It will make conversations easier, it will help you understand the client better, and it will give you an edge over other beginners who are just guessing. But if you're starting from scratch, stick to high ticket services where the numbers make sense, and that leads to the next mistake. Mistake 5, going after saturated niches. Now let's talk about crowded niches. Roofing, solar, coaching, consulting, they're great, but they're also packed with agencies, and if you pitch like everyone else, you'll blend in. So what do? You've got two options. Option 1, find an unsaturated niche, but make sure it's high ticket. Think boutique home services like custom closet builders, luxury kitchen remodelers, or even pool installation companies. Not many agencies target them, and one client for them could be worth 20 to 50k. That's the kind of math that makes sense for both of you. Option 2, bring a fresh angle to a busy niche. Sometimes you don't need a new niche, you just need a new mechanism. That could be running quiz funnels instead of boring lead forms, it could be using SMS verification so leads are high quality, or it could be a bold guarantee no one else in the space is willing to give. Here's the key, sometimes you have to think out of the box. Most people copy whatever everyone else is doing, and that's why they get ignored. But when you flip the angle, you stand out instantly, and that brings us to the next mistake. Mistake 6, mindset. Here's the truth. Most beginners don't fail because the system doesn't work. They fail because of what's going on in their own head. Let's break this down. First, fear of failure. You're scared to waste 6 months, spend money and end up with nothing. I get it. But here's the thing, you can't fail if you're learning. Every email you send, every call you take, every ad you run, that's a rep. And those reps stack up. Even if you don't land a client right away, you're building the skills that eventually guarantee that you will. Then there's the fear of success. Sounds crazy, right? But I felt this too. It's the thought of, what if I can actually sign clients and then I can't deliver? That fear makes you hesitate to even pitch. And here's what you need to remember. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to stay one step ahead of your client. There are tools, templates, even people you can lean on. Delivery is figure outable, but you'll never get there unless you start. Another big one, imposter syndrome. That voice in your head that says, I'm not at 10k yet. Who am I to sell this? I'll tell you right now, your clients don't care about your revenue. They care about results. If you can get them more calls, more leads, more jobs, you're valuable. Even if you're at $0, you can still create results for them. That's what matters. Perfectionism is another trap. I've seen people spend 3 months tweaking their logo or building the perfect website. None of that gets you clients. You don't need a perfect brand to start. You need conversations, you need offers. Action beats perfection every single time. Then there's the fear of rejection. This one stings because it feels personal. You send 20 cold emails, no one replies, and you think, maybe I'm not cut out for this. But rejection isn't personal, it's math. It's just numbers. If 99 people say no, but one person says yes, you're in business. Rejection is literally built into the game. Expect it and it loses its power. Money scarcity is another mindset block. You're afraid to spend on ads, tools, or mentorship. You see it as losing money. But here's the truth. It's not an expense, it's an investment. Every tool you buy, every ad you run, every mentor you work with, it shortens the learning curve. And that time you save is worth more than the cash. And finally, identity conflict. This is where you're still thinking like an employee, waiting for permission, afraid to take risks, wanting guarantees before you act. But this isn't a 9 to 5. Entrepreneurship means you create your own path. You're the one who decides, and once you start thinking like a partner, not a service provider, everything changes. Because here's the reality, even the best offer means nothing if you're too scared to put it out there. So now you see, the biggest battles aren't out there, they're in here. As soon as you get out of your own head and into the game, you'll feel the momentum kick in. Mistake 7, chasing perfect clients. Some guys will tell you to work with only perfect clients. The ones who already have great funnels, killer sales team, validated offers, case studies stacked to the ceiling. Sounds nice, right? Like easy wins? But here's the truth. If a client already has it figured out, they don't need you. At best, you're just an extra pair of hands. And when you're just an extra pair of hands, you're replaceable. Replaceable equals low value. Low value equals low pay. The real money, it doesn't come from the perfect clients. It comes from the messy ones. The roofer with a weak sales process, the coach with no outbound system, the contractor with a vague offer. When you step in and fix those problems, you're not just running ads anymore. You're transforming the business. And when you transform a business, you stop being a service provider. You become a partner. Partners get respect. Partners get trust. Partners get paid. That's when clients happily drop 3, 5, even 10k a month. Not because you placed a few Facebook ads, but because you solved problems they couldn't solve on their own. And here's the catch. You'll never land those high value clients if you're not putting in the numbers. Because the truth is, you've got to kiss a lot of frogs before you find the winners. Mistake 8. Not sending enough messages. This one's brutal. And honestly, it's the main reason most beginners stay stuck. They just don't send enough outreach. I'm talking 20 emails a week, maybe a few DMs. Then they sit there wondering why nothing's happening. That won't cut it. This game is a numbers game. If you're only sending 20 emails, that's like rolling the dice and expecting to hit jackpot. It just doesn't work like that. You need volume. I'm talking hundreds a day. And here's the math. Let's say you send 200 emails a day. Even if you're only getting 1% reply rate, that's 2 people a day interested. 2 interested prospects equals 2 calls a day. That's 10 calls a week, 40 calls a month. You think you can't land 2 to 5 clients out of those 40 calls? Of course you can. But only if you're doing the volume. Start simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Pick one channel. Email is the easiest. Master that first. Then once you're consistent, layer in paid ads. That's how you stack growth. And let me show you why this matters with money math. If you charge 2k a month, you only need 5 clients to hit 10k, or 2 clients at 5k each. That's it. It's not this crazy 100 clients overnight thing. Or let's say you're running a pay per lead model, which is what I recommend. You sell leads at $80, it costs you $40 in ads to generate each one. That's $40 profit per lead. Sell just 25 leads a week, that's $1,000 profit a week, which is 4k a month from just one client. Stack 3 or 4 of those clients, now you're at 12 to 16k a month. It's not magic, it's just math. But again, you'll never see those numbers if you don't send the messages. You can't win a game you're barely playing. Mistake 9, struggling to close. Now let's talk about closing. This one's huge. Because here's the truth, leads don't equal money. Leads are just opportunities. If you can't close them, you don't have a business. And this is where most beginners mess up. They think the hard part is generating the leads. So as soon as they get a few calls, they panic and say, I need a closer. They want to hand the sales process off right away. Don't do that, that's an amateur move. At the beginning, you need to learn sales yourself. Here's why. Number 1, you understand the clients better. Every sales call is market research. You'll hear their objections, you'll hear their fears, you'll hear exactly what they want. That's gold, and you can't get that if you outsource. Number 2, sales is a skill that pays forever. If you know how to close, you'll never go broke. It doesn't matter if it's lead generation or something else. The ability to turn a conversation into a revenue is the ultimate skill. And number 3, no one can sell your vision better than you. This business isn't just about numbers, it's about trust. And in the early days, you're the one who cares the most about your clients. You're the one who believes in your offer. That energy is what makes people say yes. Here's the good news. Sales isn't just reps. The first 10 calls, you'll probably suck. The first 50 calls, you'll still feel shaky. But once you've done 100 plus calls, you start to get it. You start hearing the same objections over and over. You start knowing exactly how to respond. You stop winging it and start controlling the call. And the truth is, you don't need to be a sales expert to close. You just need to be clear, confident and calm. You need to show you understand their problem and that your system is the solution. So don't rush to hire a closer. Learn it yourself, master it, and honestly, if you get good enough, you might never need a closer at all. Because once you know how to sell, you're untouchable. You can always generate leads, you can always close deals, and that means you can always make money. At the end of the day, closing is what turns all your effort, the outreach, the ads, the testing into money in the bank. Mistake 10, building alone. And here's where most beginners go wrong. Building alone is the fastest way to quit. When you're on your own, every rejection feels heavier. You send 50 cold emails, nobody replies, and your brain tells you, see, this doesn't work. But if you had a group around you, you'd realize that's normal. You'd see other people sending 200 emails, getting the same rejections, and still booking calls. That perspective keeps you in the game where your brain wants to tap out. When you're alone, you overthink every move. You waste weeks on logos, websites, and second guessing your niche. Why? Because there's no feedback loop. No one to look at your offer and say, that works, send it. No one to tell you, you're overcomplicating it, here's a simple version. Support cuts through the noise so you can move faster. And when you're alone, there's no accountability. Nobody checks if you actually sent those 100 emails today. Nobody calls you out if you're procrastinating. Nobody reminds you of the bigger picture when you're stuck in your own head. So it's easy to let a day slide, then a week, then a month. And before you know it, you're quietly giving up. That's why most beginners quit within 3 months. Not because the business model doesn't work, but because building alone makes every obstacle feel like a dead end. With support, it's different. You've got people pushing you when you slow down, you've got proof all around you that the system works, and you've got advice when you're stuck. And most importantly, you've got accountability. Someone checking if you did the work, someone reminding you why you started, someone showing you that momentum is built step by step. That support is what gets you through the dip. It's what keeps you consistent long enough to actually see results. And consistency is the only way to hit 10k a month. If this video helped, don't try to figure it out alone. I've built a free school community where I break everything down step by step. Inside, I share resources, proven systems, and strategies you can copy. Plus, you'll be surrounded by people chasing the same goals. So if you're serious about building your own agency, join us. The link's below. I'll see you inside.